Good morning. Happy Wednesday. It's April 15th, 2020. And today's lesson is going to be on combining like terms. When I'm in my classroom, I always wish I had a whole bunch of stuff that I could use to kind of make my point about like terms, and now I have it, so I feel very grateful. So I'm going to kind of show you how you can think in your mind about what a like term looks like. So if you see the pile of gobstoppers right here, obviously there's different colors. But if I put them as like terms, I'm doing this. I'm saying, okay, well, all the red ones by themselves, purple ones by themselves, etc. These are now put in groups of like terms. So if I try to do this, I got a problem because now I have a yellow one and a green one. And they can't go together because one's yellow, one's green. So I have to put them back with their group to make them alike. So this is one example of like terms. Now you can go over and you can look at the pins here. Again, if I said to you, group the like terms, you should think about doing this because they're different types of pins. So the like pins are here and the other one is here. You can't do this because this pin will never be like this one. And that's the same way when we do the terms and combining like terms. Then I use something very extraordinary that I couldn't have in my classroom. I have a group of silverware, and as you know, if you do this, now you've separated things into like terms. So when you're doing like terms, like on the assignment today, you can see that you have a bunch of different types of problems that you could have with combining like terms. Now there's a couple things I want to refresh you on that we remember from class, and that's this. I'm going to write down here at the very bottom of this page. If you have an x, that's like having 1x. If you had a negative x, that would be like having a negative 1x. So remember, if there is nothing in front of the x, it's a 1. So when you take a look at the first problem, when I'm combining together x and 2x, they're both x's. So for the sake of remembering, oh yeah, that has a 1 in front of it, I'm just going to place a red 1 in here to remind you that 1x plus 2x would just equal 3x. Now, a lot of times in class when we did this, you'd say, is that it? We don't have to solve for anything? Well, we just did. We combined like terms. That's all we did. We said 1 plus 2 is 3, keep the x. Very simple. The next one, we have 6x minus 3x. So whatever's in front of the number is the sign you use. And we always did that in class. So if you had 6x minus 3x, then you would be left also again with 3x. Next one, if I had 4 x's and I took away 3 x's, I would have 1x. Now, remember, you could also write it like this. So if you were looking for a correct answer, it would either be 1x or x. But as I told you in algebra, the teachers are probably not going to want to see the 1 in front of the x because remember, we talked about it's known to be there. Now, those are very basic ones, but as we all know, math continues to build and it continues to be more difficult. So I've thrown in some different problems down here where I can show you how you could do it if you have a really hard time when you go to do the exercise for today. So what I do in class a lot of times, you'll see me circle the like terms. And you notice I took that x with me, the minus sign with the x. Then I'm going to, sorry, I want to use purple. I'm going to circle positive 4y and positive y. So now I've grouped them into colors. So when I go to give the answer, I have 2x minus x. If I want to place a 1 there, take my red again and put a 1 so I can remember. So if I take 2x and I subtract 1x, that leaves me with 1x. And then I have to worry about my y's. So I have 4y plus, take my purple, make sure we remember there's a 1. So 4y plus 1y is 5y. You can also write it as x plus 5y, because remember, you don't have to place the 1. Now, for the last example, it throws in everything. Throws in 2 different variables. It throws in constants. Now, constants are just plain numbers. We talk about that all the time at school. They're just integers. So I'm going to start by circling my integers with purple. That would be 5 and -1. And then I'm going to circle my x's with red. So I've got this positive 2x and positive 2x. And then that y, I'm just going to leave it there because we don't have another one, so it can stand alone by itself. Now, in your algebra classes, there's this thing called putting it in proper order. When you put it in proper order, you're placing the letters as they are in the alphabet. And then anything left over, the constants, you put at the end. So when you're doing this, you're going to do 2x plus 2x because they're both positive. Positive 2x plus 2x is 4x. 2 plus 2 is 4. That's why it's 4x. Then you look at your y's. Well, you only have one of them. So all you do is write plus y. Now, let's say you had another plus 2y in there. Then you'd have to add them together, but you don't. So you just have the plain y, so you just say plus y. Then you have to look at your constants. We also call them integers in the classroom, like on the number line. 5 minus 1. And 5 minus 1 is positive 4. So these different problems, you can see they're very basic, some of them, and some of them get very detailed. This is only the beginning of combining like terms, because down the road, I'm going to draw it down here for you, just show you something that we might look at another time. You might have something like 2x squared plus 2x squared. And that would simply be 4x squared. You could see that because you still add together the 2 front numbers. 2 plus 2 is 4, and you keep the x squareds. You notice we didn't do anything except bring x squareds down. So that will be a more detailed, more heavy type lesson, which probably we would say for algebra. But you will learn to do that, and maybe we'll do some of that toward the end of the year. This is the video on combining like terms. And if you watched it, I'm going to tell you what. There's this candy that I showed in the beginning. It's called Gobstoppers. Those are one of my favorite candies. And on the next test, I'm probably going to ask you, what candy did Miss White show in the Combining Like Terms video? Now you know. Have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.